guys, welcome to Film Learning, the show dedicated to learning you some filmmaking and learning you good. And welcome to part 2 of our 3-part animating in After Effects tutorial. If you've just joined us, go back and hit up part 1 because we're going to be starting right where we left off. Today we're talking about rigging. What's that, I hear you ask? Well, it's basically the process of giving your character bones and control points for animation, and today we'll be achieving this in 2 ways. 1, we'll be adding bones and controls to the arms and legs using a free plugin called Duik Tools, which is simply amazing. Click the link below to download it. 2, we'll be using sliders and an expression to control our eyelids, eyebrows, and mouth. So let's get started. Alright guys, to begin with, we're going to set up the mouth controls. So first things first, make sure you download the animation pack to follow along. This contains the expression that we'll be using too. Let's head up, grab a null, we'll then rename it mouth control. Make sure it looks exactly like I've typed it. Let's also reposition our null so it's directly on top of our mouth comp. We'll then head over to presets and type in slider. Drag and drop those slider controls straight onto our null and collapse down the slider effect like so. From there, let's select our mouth comp, right click, head up and enable time remapping. We'll then drag our comp out to fill the entire timeline. Next, hold the Alt key, click the stopwatch, and then we'll grab the pick whip and drag it up to our slider controls. Now as you can see, it's created an expression, but we don't want that one. So let's copy our expression from our download pack for the mouth and paste it on in. Now, as you can see, our slider is now controlling our mouth comp, but it's not quite displaying them all. So to combat that, we'll head up to the slider controls and right click on the stopwatch area and click Edit Value. I'm going to key in 150 here as I've already tested it and I know it works. But you may have to play around and find your golden value if you have, less or more mouth expressions. Click OK when you're done, and now when we move the slider, it very calmly goes through each of our mouth pitches nice and slowly. Not too shabby, eh? Next is very much the same as last week. Repeat that process for the eyelids and eyebrows, guys, remembering once again that you have to name your nulls the exact same name as the expression says, otherwise it won't work. And since the amount of frames in these comps vary, the value in our slider will as well. So be mindful of that when you put these 2 controls together, and you should end up with something like this. Okay, our mouth, eyelid, and eyebrow controls are all set up. Time to dive into Duik and give this sucker some bones! If you haven't got Duik installed, guys, go and do that first. Let's start things off with the right arm. Let's click here to solo the layer. We'll then head up, grab the puppet tool, and change some of the parameters. Let's change the expansion to 24 and the triangles to 1200. This will help stop your image from tearing. From there, we're going to add 3 points to our arm. 1 at the shoulder, 1 at the elbow, and 1 at the hand. Once we've done that, head back to the timeline and let's collapse down the effects menu and then the puppet menu on that layer, like so. We'll then highlight all of our mesh points, jump up to Duik and click the bones button. We now have 3 null objects representing our puppet points. Next, let's rename those points to correspond with the parts of our arm. Point 1 will become right arm, point 2 will become right forearm, and point 3 will become right hand. With that hand point still selected, head back up to Duik and click Controllers. We'll then move said controller just down below our hand. From there, we'll parent the hand to the forearm to the arm, and then select the hand, forearm, shoulder, then the controller in that order. Head up to Duik and click IK. We'll also uncheck this stretch option. You can leave it if you want, but I prefer to leave it unchecked, as personally, I don't really like the stretch function. We now have our arm fully controllable by moving this null. It can bend and rotate, and if you need to bend it at the opposite angle, head up here and uncheck this box. Done. Pretty easy, huh? We'll then rinse and repeat this same process for the left arm, only this time calling the bones left instead of right. I mean, of course. Now that both arms are done, time to move on to the legs. The process is pretty much the same, but the naming of the joints, as you would expect, is a little different. So once we've added our 3 puppet points and added our bones, we'll name point 1 right thigh, point 2 right calf, and point 3 right foot. With the foot selected, hit the controllers button, move that controller below the leg, we'll then parent the foot to the calf to the thigh, select the foot, calf, thigh, then the controller, and hit IK. Remove that stretch function, and that's our right leg done. Rinse and repeat that for the left leg, naming the parts left thigh, left calf, and left foot. Okay, our bones and controllers are set. Our last step is to attach everything together. So we'll head up, grab our right arm point, parent it to the body. We'll then do the same with the left arm, right thigh, left thigh, and the head. We'll then in turn parent all of our face comps to the head. So the eyes, eye whites, brows, mouth, and nose, all parented right to that head. Now that everything's joined up, time to hide some of this crap. Let's highlight all of the bones we've made and hit this little dude here. We'll then head up and turn him on, and BAM! Our comp is now a damn sight easier to manage. So now that it's all joined up, let me show you how cool this is. Head down to the body, hit R and bring up the rotation controls, and if we move the rotation, you can see that everything moves all smooth and even bends a little. Same for position. If we move up or down, the points react naturally. Pretty clever, huh? So that brings us to the end of part 2, guys. Our character is all boned up and controllable. All we have to do is animate now. If you're a newbie, give that subscribe button some love. If you liked the video, be sure to give me a big old thumbs up and share the hell out of it. As always, guys, if you have a request or just want to say howdy, here's the Twitter, here's the Facebook, down there's the comment section. And until part 3 rolls around next week, keep learning.